Alright guys, it has been 4 years since one of the main lead singers from the Cranberries, Dolores O'Riordan, died at the age of 46 years old. So apparently what I was gonna say is I'm so sorry for not doing this video back in 2018 because I was at school back in 7th grade, and also for that I was sick. So apparently I could not do this video about Dolores O'Riordan's sad news about what happened to her. So today I will actually do it this year. So eventually it has been around 4 years since the singer Dolores O'Riordan had passed away due to an alcohol intoxication drowning, So what really happened to Dolores O'Riordan? Dolores O'Riordan actually died due to alcohol intoxication in January 2018. So what I was gonna say is that Dolores actually took some drugs, she actually did take some drugs. So what really happened to her back then? Dolores had her last performance on the 14th of December in 2017, December of 2017, at just 46 years old before her death. Eventually, what I was going to say is that Dolores actually did take some drugs. According to the video, Dolores has been addicted to drugs, and she also just does these kind of stuff, like does a lot of these kinds of things. Since she's the main lead singer of the Cranberries, what I'll just say is that Dolores did take a lot of these drugs and died. She also drowned due to an alcohol intoxication. Now, what I was going to say is that people who are singers, they're really crazy about these kinds of drugs. So when Dolores actually traveled from New York City to London to work with Marvin Groover, now what I was going to say is that at around 2 a.m. before her death, Dolores had a phone call with her mother. But later in the morning, Dolores was found dead in the bathroom and was pronounced dead. So what I was going to say is that Dolores had an alcohol intoxication that was a result of the accidental drowning in her bath. So according to that, there was actually a toxicology test that showed that Dolores actually had blood alcohol content of 3.3 GL. So what I was going to say is that there were 5 miniature bottles and a campaign bottle. So apparently Dolores was actually the one taking all of these drugs. So apparently what I was going to say is that Dolores actually composed of a suicidal note, just drinking heavily and taking lorazepam, which is a drug. There was actually absences from alcohol and no suicidal thoughts. So what I was going to say is that Dolores O'Riordan did take a lot of drugs, and apparently what I was going to say is that she's been addicted to drugs, similar to Keith Moon, the Who drummer who died in 1978 from a drug overdose. Now, this is similar to Dolores O'Riordan from the Zombies. Now, what I was going to say is that Moon and O'Riordan took drugs before their death. Now, what I was going to say is that both of them did die of a drug overdose. Dolores was actually found dead in the bathroom, while Keith Moon was actually found dead in his flat. Just similar to when Mama Cass from the Mamas and the Papas died of a heart failure at 32 years old as well. Now, what I was going to say is that Dolores O'Riordan was actually crazy with drugs. Because of this, how could she be really addicted? So what I was going to say is that there was actually an intoxication and alcohol withdrawal symptoms for Dolores. So Dolores couldn't have just stopped being addicted to drugs, and she would have turned 51 this year if she would have stopped taking the drugs. Unfortunately for that, Dolores O'Riordan has died already, Now, there was actually one crazy fact about these singers and YouTubers taking all these kinds of alcohol intoxication drugs, which is bad, Now, I'm not really going to show these videos to you, but I'm going to show it right here. So what I was going to say is that Dolores O'Riordan actually did take so much of drugs. According to the video, which was featured in the Rock and Roll Stories, Dolores apparently did take the drug and became addicted to it. Unfortunately for that, Dolores' health deteriorated, and suddenly In 2018, 4 years ago, Dolores was found dead in the bathroom. Like, why? Why would a person do that? Are they out of their mind? Do they want to be happy? For Dolores, she was actually addicted to the drug. Now, what I was gonna say is that this one happened to Keith Moon as well. You see, Moon the Loon or Keith Moon took the drug. He just abused the drug. He abused hemaverin. And I also forgot to mention to you guys about hemaverin. Hemaverin is a very strong drug, the type of drug that is only allowed in hospitals. If the drug was constantly abused, the person would die from a drug overdose. Now, what I was gonna say is that both Keith and Dolores took drugs back then. They were addicted. Dolores was also addicted to alcohol, including campaign, while Keith Moon, the same thing, was addicted to alcohol. And both of them, O'Riordan and Moon, are trying to struggle with this kind of the alcohol abuse and drug addiction, which was a very dangerous habit. And apparently what I was gonna say is that Dolores O'Riordan apparently did take the drug at some point. Not because she wanted money, but she wanted to make herself happy. And guys, drugs don't work that way. They do not work that way. You can't take the drug and be happy. It's never going to work that way. Drugs are kind of a dangerous substance. It can kill you. And you could end up having a drug overdose. So don't end the same way like Keith Moon and Dolores O'Riordan did. Because I'm giving another example about what happened, you know. It also goes for Leanne Staley from Alice in Chains. Leanne Staley also took the drug at some point and did die of a drug overdose. So what I was going to say about Leanne Staley, or Leanne Staley, sorry if I cannot pronounce it properly. The matter of death was actually ruled as a drug overdose in the accident. So, if you go to Random Guy videos, you can find pictures of Keith Moon, Dolores O'Riordan, and Leanne Staley, and it will show you what is the cause of death for both of these singers. Now, I know some of you guys just know why people did a lot of like drug overdose, but there's also another example. Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols also took drugs and died at just 21 years old, which is the reason, like, why would they do that? So eventually what I was gonna say is that Dolores, Leanne, Keith, and Sid both took drugs, and apparently what I was gonna say is that there was actually some kind of drug which could lead them to a young or an early death, you know, like a young death. I mean, why would Dolores do that? I know both of them want to be smart at taking drugs, but does this one mean they can't take the drug? Of course not. They're not supposed to take drugs. They take drugs, they're dead, you know, they're dead. What I'll just say about Dolores O'Riordan, in my opinion. Dolores O'Riordan did some singing in the past. She somehow managed to cope with the Cranberries band, but somehow Dolores O'Riordan did abuse herself. She was totally addicted to drugs and somehow almost managed to kill herself. Now what I was gonna say is that it is really, really scary, especially for someone who has this drug overdose and drug abuse. They are afraid to go to the hospital, like a hysterically hospital. It is similar to the one where Keith Moon had a fear of these hospitals and wanted to do it at home. Now what I'll just suggest is that don't do it. Don't do drug. Drugs are very dangerous. It will kill you. It is not okay. And you know, Dolores should as well go to a rehabilitation center because of the abuse that she's been getting. An alcohol withdrawal symptom. She couldn't have just stopped the abuse and stopped the addiction, but she didn't. She just died. She was found dead in the bathroom with some shots of glasses and some shots of miniature glasses and a bottle of campaign. Like, I mean, why?
Why? Why would she even do that? Like, why? Why would Dolores O'Riordan do this? It's very dangerous for people to do that, especially for singers. If they even do this at a young age, they would die. This is like the scariest reason why you should never ever let someone take drugs, you know? So apparently what I was gonna say is that Dolores O'Riordan did abuse the drugs. So is it confirmed that Dolores O'Riordan could have just took fentanyl? Of course, she did take fentanyl. She died of a fentanyl poisoning, and that's a drug. So I'm gonna read to you what is a fentanyl drug. A fentanyl drug is actually a powerful opiate that used for pain medication. So Dolores has been using it and she died instantly. Her body was found dead in a bathroom, like that. And that was the part that made me scared, you know? I mean, why did Dolores even do this? I can't believe she would do a thing like this. Now what I was gonna really say about Dolores? The other bandmates could have just stopped Dolores from taking the drug. If she would have been alive, she could have just stopped taking the drug. This is like totally unacceptable, and Dolores couldn't have just gotten herself arrested. She could have gotten herself killed. Now there was another example from the video, which I'm sorry I cannot because I had to offload my phone, but next time when I get another one, I will definitely read this one to you out. So eventually what I was going to say is that Dolores has been kicked out of a plane once. We don't know like what happened because I can't show the video. And unfortunately for that, I'm using this recorder on YouTube, like my voice recorder. So eventually what I was going to say is that Dolores did do a lot of stuff ever since she was addicted to the drug. Now what I was going to say, Dolores O'Riordan could have just stopped taking the drug instead of just risking her life trying to take lots of drugs. I mean, why? Why would you even do that? I could not believe my eyes when I did see the news that the singer Dolores O'Riordan did die at just 46 years old, which is kind of a young age. She wasn't that old. I was really disappointed with Dolores O'Riordan's drug taking. Not because she wanted to sing, but she did a lot of stupid stuff back then before her death. It's similar to Keith Moon, so both of them really took the drug and died instantly. Both of their bodies were actually found in hotel rooms and flats. Now what I was gonna really say again, Dolores O'Riordan could have just stopped taking the drug, or she could have just stopped risking her life. And Dolores just tried to use self-harm on herself. It's very dangerous. Self-harm is very dangerous for other people. You could get yourself hurt. You could get yourself killed, you know? Dolores did leave out a suicidal note. She wanted to kill herself back then. But eventually, it's currently unknown why Dolores apparently did use that note. Could she mean that she wanted to kill herself? She's been struggling with the abuse ever since 2014. Dolores also has been addicted to drugs, in my opinion. And these kind of things really happens to a lot of musicians, such as Keith Moon, Leanne Staley, Sid Vicious, and other singers as well. I mean, why would they just do this? Like, why? I couldn't believe my eyes. Dolores O'Riordan was one of the singers that could have died from an alcohol overdose. But anyways, guys, that's all I really need to say for now for remembrance of the singer Dolores O'Riordan from the band Zombies. Anyways, guys, that's all for now.